Hello, everyone. Hello in the Zoom room. Hello in our YouTube channel. Put it in the chat. How are you feeling this morning? It is Tuesday at 7 a.m. and I just amp myself up for these lives. Being with you every single week is such a joy. We have Stephanie in the Zoom room. We have so many exciting things happening today. Oh no, I'm on both sides. Okay, there we go. How is everyone doing? Put it in the chat. Olivia's in the Zoom room, Aisha, Christina. We have some people in the Zoom room, and then we have people on our YouTube channel. We have people on our TikTok. Like, it is just happening everywhere this morning. And I have so many fun things coming up inside of today's YouTube video. So I want to know, inside of the chat, how are you? How are you feeling? I keep calling our Facebook. Our YouTube channel says it's Monday here, feeling great. Hey, Queens. Hi, Gemma. Hi, Pearl. Hi, Julia. Hello. Yes. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Checking the chat. Excited. This is my first call. Oh, Christina, I'm so glad that you're here. This is not the Make Money membership call, Christina. This is not the Make Money membership call, but I'm glad that you're here. Your hair looks so good. You know, guys, I sleep in those heatless curlers. I sleep in those heatless curlers. I love them. Okay. Well, let's dive into today. I'm so excited. Welcome to Freedom Queen Live. How many of you, this is your first time at Freedom Queen Live? Or how many of you is this, you've been here before? You come every week. You're here every single Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. How many of you've attended these lives before? And if you're watching on our TikTok, come on over to our YouTube page. Okay, some of you have been here before. Just put a yes in the chat if you have been here before, or put like, I'm new here if you're new here. Stephanie's been here before. Amazing. So Freedom Queen Live. Hi, Julia. This is your first time. I'm new here. Oh, Aisha says yes. So Freedom Queen Live is our free training on Mondays at 7 p.m. It will always be on Mondays at 7 p.m. on our YouTube channel. You can watch from our YouTube channel every single Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then if you are a paying mastermind client, private client, or headquarters client, you're open to coming into the Zoom room with me. Now, this is not a part of our Make Money membership. I want to make that very clear. This is not a part of our Make Money membership. This is a free training open to everyone. Unless you're in our higher level programs, then you can come into the Zoom room with me. Our Freedom Queen Live is a place for you to get plugged in every single week to learn what you need to do to sign on clients, what you need to do to re-energize in your business. I know that the times where I've been the most successful are the times where I'm staying plugged in. So make sure that you're here every single Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And inside of our Facebook group, we have the schedule there, but it's always there. So just put it on your calendar, put the YouTube link on your Google Calendar to make sure that you're always here. So let's dive in. I have a little bit of announcements before we go into a special guest that we have today. So programs to sign up for. How many of you are inside of the Freedom Queen headquarters? Just put a yes if you are inside of the Freedom Queen headquarters. Just put a yes in the chat. Olivia says, yes, I know, Olivia, I'm so excited. Olivia's inside of one of our mini minds, which I'm very, very excited for. But our headquarters is basically, it's a mini mastermind. And there's a minimum of 3 months to be inside of the headquarters. You get access to all of our micro programs. It's $497 a month. The first week of every month, what happens is you get in a Slack group with me. And inside of this Slack group, I have seen women do things inside of this first week of the month. It blows my mind. They do more things in the first week of this month than any other business owner I've ever seen before. I'm not kidding. It is amazing. So the first week of every single month, we map out your offers, your sales flow, and your content. Then the rest of the month, you have to implement that plan and you get access to all of our micro group programs. So if you're not inside of the headquarters, I'm going to put the link in the chat here. It's $497 a month, minimum for 3 months. You can click there to join. And I see some of you are working to join that. And that's the next step if you're inside of the membership and you're looking to work with me further. After that, we have our higher ticket masterminds, but right now we are enrolling for the headquarters. Other things coming up, put a yes in the chat if you are a Make Money member. I want to know, put a yes in the chat if you're a Make Money member. Put it in. Aisha is a Make Money member. Yes. Christina is a Make Money member. Yes. Put a yes in the chat if you're a Make Money member. This week, we have our February Q&A. And so that'll be on Zoom this week. I believe it's Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is my Wednesday, so it confuses the crap out of me. But Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have our February Q&A. So make sure that you're there. We've already sent out an email about it, and I'm just so excited to have you on the Zoom. Make sure that you're there. There's like 500 of us inside of this membership, so make sure that you get on early so that you can get your questions asked first. Carolina says, Make Money membership, so exciting. Candy, I'm in all the things. Melissa, yay, yes, Make Money membership. Gemma's in, Pearl's in, Katie's in, Spiritual Mind, Melissa, yes. Okay, so before we bring on this guest speaker, which I'm so excited to interview her today, and oh my gosh, I see Olivia on camera in the Zoom room. We have something very exciting per usual happening inside of my world, which is just what we seem to do here. I want you to put it in the chat. Where are you located around the world? Where are you located around the world? Just put it in the chat. Whether you're on our TikTok, you're on our YouTube, wherever you are, just put it in the chat. Sydney, Australia. Oh my God, I didn't know you were in Australia. Oh, that's amazing. Well, we're closer time zones then. New Zealand. Oh my God. Okay, everyone's over here. Orlando, Florida. Christina says Phoenix. So excited for our guest speaker. Caroline is in Nebraska. Yes. Okay. I wanted to know where you're located at because I'm so excited to announce that we are going to be doing Freedom Queen Lives, but in your areas, and we need your help. So we already have one person pioneering the first one that's going to be happening in Nebraska, which I'm so excited about. But if you saw inside of our Facebook group, I put enter your location because we're looking for people to come and do Freedom Queen Lives in your area. So what this looks like is you become a Freedom Queen Live pioneer in your area, whether you're in Australia, New Zealand, Orlando, Florida, wherever you're at. You bring together the other Freedom Queens that are inside of our Facebook group, inside of our communities, and you meet, whether it's once a month in person, whether it's every other month in person, whether it's every 6 months, whatever that looks like. You communicate that with myself and the team. And then on that date, whenever you meet up, you'll Zoom me in. And I'll Zoom in for like 15 minutes. It won't be long, really just to say hello, to get the community together. And then you will be the pioneer of leading your own Freedom Queen Lives in your area. So what does that look like? Helping people with content, having a business bestie in person, wearing your t-shirts if you want to, doing brunch with the girls and doing all the business things. Put a yes in the chat if you were just like craving in-person connection. Aisha says, oh my God, so exciting. Lorena's in Melbourne. She'll have to do one there. Pearl says, I'll do one in Vancouver. Yes. Oh my God. So exciting. So excited. Jamie says, that is amazing. Bridge, Katie says. So what I'm going to do is post in the Facebook group and say, if you would like to be a Freedom Queen Live location pioneer, you're going to comment below and then you're going to get put in a special group chat with me and you're going to pioneer this. I wanted to create more spaces where you can meet in person with one another. Someone says in the chat, I need this. Multiple people are saying, I need this so bad. Like imagine you're going out every 6 months with your business besties in person and you're like dressed up going out on the town, but you're talking about business and helping each other make content. So obviously I can't be to all of the locations around the world, maybe one day, but Somebody in the TikTok says, so excited about Nebraska. Yeah. So I'm so excited that you guys are so excited. I need in-person connection too. I was just talking about this. Okay, amazing. So you'll see the Facebook group today, the post. Comment below in there if you want to be one of the pioneers, and then we'll start congregating all of you to make sure that you're connected to your person and your location. We're making history, Team Freedom Queen says. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Okay. So, and part of these lives is I'm going to be bringing on guest speakers, past clients, current clients, and they're going to be giving you their expertise. And so today I'm bringing on one of my private clients, Stephanie Eastman. Let me go ahead and pin her video here. She's looking freaking beautiful. Stephanie has been a private client of mine, I think since October or November of last year, somewhere around there. And Stephanie is just an absolute genius. She's an expert in so many different fields that you're just going to it's just going to blow your mind. So I'm very, very excited to have Stephanie on. Stephanie, you can come on mute. I'm just going to ask you questions about your journey, who you are. So if you're in the chat, please ask questions. I will look for them. And if you're inside of the Zoom room, ask questions too. And then I will let you know what questions come up. So with that being said, Stephanie, can you introduce yourself? Who are you? What do you do? And then we'll jump into the interview.
Hi, everybody. So glad to be here this evening. Well, morning for you. So I do the gene keys actually in my work. So I do private coaching, I do motivational speaking, and really what the gene keys are, by the way, is like a deep dive into your astrology, into your human design. Oh, you love the gene keys. Oh, I'm glad you guys know what that is. So it's a really cool way to see like what your natural talents and abilities are so that you can like turn the volume up on that and bring it forward in your business.
And where are you in the world? Oh, let me make sure I have you up here. Where are you in the world? And how are you working with clients right now before we go into your whole story?
So I am in Phoenix right now. And right now I have a membership going where I actually go over all of the principles from Think and Grow Rich. So I love doing mindset work as well as the gene keys. So I work with women who are like building their businesses and growing. And then also I offer one-to-one where we like dive into those gene keys so that you can, like I said, crank up the volume on you.
Amazing. Amazing. And I'm checking the YouTube channel. Yes, love Gene Keys. I know HD, but never heard of Gene Keys. Oh my God. Hi, Steph. So exciting. Everyone's saying. So let's go into your Gene Keys expertise. Can you talk to us about what even are the Gene Keys? Because I know that you're really good at helping people connect their Gene Keys to their business and using that to find their unique voice. But what are the Gene Keys? Just starting us off with that.
So the gene keys, it's so funny. I've come across so many people that are like, I picked up the book or I looked it up online and then I closed my computer because there's a lot of moving parts to it. But it's basically this chart that's these 11 spheres. It's a deep dive into those human design gates. And it really goes further into like the energy of your career. And like the first time that I read mine, it was called the Success Oracle. And I've always been psychic. I've always been intuitive. But when I heard Success Oracle, I was like, holy cannoli. Like that puts the finger on exactly what I've been doing for people. So it puts words to your natural talents and abilities, but it goes into your purpose work, how you make money, how you evolve in your business. So I love using it when it comes to people's work.
How do you even get started with Gene Keys? I see some people are like, Gene Keys are my jam. You should check the YouTube chat. And I see in the Zoom room here, everyone's like, Gene Keys, it's changed my life. How do you get started with leveraging Gene Keys? Like, what does that actually look like in your business?
So I love to use this as inspiration. Like I love where people find, like whenever we start talking about them and they have one that they're just like, ooh, there's something there. There's something nudging at me. Like I worked with somebody recently who had very strong influencer energy. And I'm like, okay, how do we crank this up for you so that you can start showing up like the actual influencer that you are? And like, come to find out, and this is the funniest thing about Gene Keys, a lot of the times we'll see in our past where we were like barely scratching the surface for it. So she was like a
Mm.
buyer for a big company. Like she had like a storefront before, like it was all of those things. But now that she knows that she has that gift of being an influencer, she's like, oh, I'm going to go blow up on social media now with this.
Oh my God. What a gift that is to know what you're good at, because good Lord, I hid so many of my gifts for so many years. And now I'm like, let's turn this shit up. Like, let's go, let's blow it out of the water.
Yes.
So what are the gene keys? Because I see Olivia saying, I also have that gene key influencer. Like, is there like a list that you can pull up, or just like basically what are the basics of it? What does it look like?
So it's basically like based off of the Chinese I Ching, which I never really was pulled into that as much. I was more so human design, and the guy that came up with the gene keys really channeled out these messagings. Like he studied under the one that did the human design. And so really it's like these different little markers in your DNA, like these energetic signatures that we all have. And we all have shades of, there's 64 of them, but we'll have those 11 that are really, really strong in our chart that we can like lean into and explore those gifts and like kind of see what we can do with them.
Do you have the list of what they are? Like, is one of them influencer?
So that is just like kind of the archetype name for it. I don't remember. It's the 8th gene key.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't have the list with me right now.
Well, I would love to dive into this, because one of the things I know you're really good at is helping people find their zone of genius and turn up the dial. So let's say without the gene keys, just as a business owner, right? Put a yes in the chat if you're a business owner, which should be everybody in this room, whether you're on YouTube or in the Zoom. How do you just start figuring out, like, this is my zone of genius? Like, this is what I want to turn up. And how do you even go about discovering that?
I love that question. I feel like there's so much that we can look back on in our life, like a golden thread that runs through, like, what were the times that you were like most excited and most like jazzed up? Like for me, I look back and I see, like, this is without the gene keys. I see like, I loved getting ready for school dances. And so it was like all about getting the hair and the makeup done and like, just like the anticipation of all of that. So like for me, public speaking makes sense, and like getting up on a stage and doing all of those things. So it's like the little messages from our past that tell us, hey, what is it that you actually love?
What have you found with some of your clients when, like, have you ever had a client come to work with you and one of their zone of geniuses, something that they are the best at, is something that they are the most afraid of?
Oh my gosh. No, this hits back home actually. Like whenever I first started learning the gene keys, there was a couple of them, and I've experienced this with other people too, that you're like in love with. You're like, yes, this is me 110%. And I always tell people, I'm like, take it with a grain of salt, but also some of them may evolve the way that you look at them over time. So for me, my life's purpose, it's called like the life's theme of limitation or steering. And I was pissed whenever I heard this, because I had so many things in my life that felt like massive limitations that I had to overcome. Then come to find out, as I sat back, as I really looked at it and understood that it was my superpower, I was like, well, you're the perfect person to help other people navigate through limiting beliefs, build bridges over limitation, make tunnels through them. So that was very personal to me.
Yeah. Can you tell us your story? Because obviously I know it, but just giving us like how you got to where you are today, because it's such a transformation.
So I am 5.5 years sober. I did not get sober from alcohol. I did not get sober the regular way. I didn't go to AA. I didn't do any of that. And I went and met with this woman who had an elderly chihuahua. And she would talk about my emotions. And then 6 months later, I was helping her and guiding her through situations in her life. You know, I went from being a bartender to a car salesperson to I moved across the country and started being a lavender farmer. My dad had a lavender farm. And so I started making all natural products, started a business from scratch. And it was one of those things that I did all of that, not really knowing what my true power was or like how capable I was of doing things. So now as I look back, I'm like, holy cow, look at that track record. You can create anything it is that you want in this life. So it went from lavender farmer. I recently sold my business because I knew I was supposed to help people in a greater capacity than just making my all natural products anymore. So just sold my business this last year and going full pull into my purpose work.
What was that moment for you when you were like, okay, because for those of you that don't know, you had another business where you were making natural skincare products and selling them, and it was doing very well. But what was that moment for you when you said, okay, I need to go do this? Because I know, but just put a yes in the chat if you're at this part in your life where it's like, maybe you need to let go of something. And maybe it was doing really well in your life. It doesn't always have to be something negative that we let go of. It could be something that's thriving. Olivia says in the Zoom chat, yes, with like a million S's after. What was that moment for you though, where you decided, okay, I need to sell this. I need to move on from this, even though it was a profitable business and it really was something that you built up?
You know, it was one of those things where it grew over time until it became such an undeniable feeling of like, I really started like doing the mindset work. I was somebody that addressed shadow work for about 3 years of my life after getting sober. And whenever I stepped last year into real mindset work, it was like, that was where the needle really started moving for me, where I healed my body. I started turning on my voice, and it was just everything inside of me was like, we got to be done with this. Like, your sparkle is not going towards those products anymore. Your sparkle's going towards, how can I help people transform? So it was a growing until it was finally like the dam broke and I was ready to roll.
Yeah. I know when I was pivoting businesses, there was this point, it was like May of 2021. I had to make a decision. I either go all in on this current business or I don't. And I continued to live in like this gig economy world where I had so many other online businesses and was doing all like freelancer work. And what somebody very close to me said, you know, if you just put all your focus in your business, you probably would make more money. And I was like, shoot, you're so right. So I let go. For me, that works really well. But I know for some people that doesn't work well, but I, in the beginning of my business, liked having my back against the wall. And I see some people saying, literally, that's my literally story. Yeah. And so, Stephanie, I just had my back against the wall and I was like, okay, this is it. I have to go all in. And the only thing I could do was move forward. So when you told me you were selling your old business, I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah. It's like the burning of the bridges behind you, because you know that you're like, with every fiber of your being, that you're made for something more.
Yeah. Well, since you've transitioned into your online business, what have been some of the things that you've overcome in the last, let's say, 6 months or so that, you know, people watching, maybe they can relate to some challenges that you've overcome in your business, whether it's social media or launching or selling or social media content or the inner work, anything?
My goodness. There's quite a few of those that I've learned. And truly, this is why you can grow so quickly when you really look back at it. Like, it's really interesting. The days feel long sometimes whenever you're really going after this work and you're showing up every day, putting your all into it, putting your love into it. But I just looked back at a video that I shot in August, and my voice sounds completely different on video than it does now. And that was from showing up scared over and over and over, until every time I press live now, every time I record a TikTok, it's just second nature.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
showing up on social media, using your voice, like that is the number one thing that I had to overcome. I always tell that story about the first time I went live in my apartment in New York City, and I was like crouched in the corner, hoping no one could hear me, my roommates, and I wore a turtleneck because I get really hot and I'm very like, my skin's very sensitive. And so you would see all of the red blotches coming up my neck, and it was so just, and I just had to show up anyways. I just had to show up anyways and use my voice. So, okay. I want to get back into the gene key work, because that sounds like something that people in the chat were really interested in hearing about. Can you like do a deep dive into the gene keys? Where should we start with the gene keys? Let me ask you that. Where should we start? Because I'm so naive to the gene keys. I'm not even sure where.
So I'm like obsessed low-key with your chart because it has so many markers of success in it. And so a lot of people that know you or that follow you or just like have been in your energy probably have seen these things. And like one of my favorite parts of your chart in particular is that evolution. And I had told you about this a long time ago when we first started working together, but it's the 26th gene key. And it's like, it's all about this like sales mastery, and it's called like the hypnotist. And so Bridget just has this like natural way that she shows up, and it's just like innately in her. And you've been in sales for a really long time, like where it's evolved so much, even so much where you said that you used to sell tickets for your parents to come watch your performances, right?
You are not getting in unless you pay me to come into our living room.
So she was starting with these keys. These are things that are inside of us from the very beginning, but sometimes we just like let the outside world and the people that we hang out with or what we think is right program us away from these natural talents and abilities that are in there. Yes, I have the 26 and I ignored my innate entrepreneur for so long. Yeah. So she's just like so natural, just like you at like the sales. And another one that I found so wild, whenever I first met you, you talked about overcoming inertia, which this is another thing that I have learned whenever I started going full pull in my business and I sold my other one. But in Bridget's Pearl, like the pearl is where you make money. The pearl is where your ideas come from. And hers talks about overcoming this inertia. So she was already speaking on these things that were inside of her before she even knew that that's like part of who she is.
Yeah. When you sent me my gene key reading, I was like, I went and told my boyfriend about it. He was like, can I have a gene key reading? That was the most amazing thing. So Stephanie, say your Instagram handle for people on the YouTube channel or in our Zoom room to connect with you afterwards, because the reading was just amazing.
Yeah. It's at Hey Stephanie Eastman, like Hey, and then Stephanie Eastman. I'll type it in here too.
I'll put it in the inside of our YouTube channel here. So we have some time for questions, and I feel like people want to dive into the gene keys or maybe ask you a few questions about it. So if you're in the Zoom room, feel free to pop any questions in the chat you have for Stephanie about gene keys, or if you're in the YouTube channel and you want to know more about gene keys, put them in, because there's nothing more powerful than that. Stephanie, when you told me you're really good at sales, I was like, I'm really good at sales.
Yes.
Like it was. Do you notice that happens with people when you do their gene key readings?
That's the most incredible thing, Bridget. Like it's like the mindset work combined with these gene keys, because you could hear that and you could literally let it fall off of your brain and walk away. Or you could lock that in and be like, oh my gosh, let me look back on all the times I am really good at sales. Yeah, that feels really good. And then you move forward like this person that has that as their superpower.
You know, I have a question for you. Once I heard, so I know a lot of people, human design, I'm a manifesting generator and I'm a Gemini. So I'm just like crazy over here. But I once heard someone say, now there's definitely many variables to this personality, but They said something like, I'm not good at selling because I'm XYZ human design. And now, again, there are many other factors that go into making a statement like that, because yes, there's just many different factors when you go into a statement like that.
Mhm.
However, that is a very real statement that people make. What do you say to people when they say, well, I have this gene key, so that means I suck at making money? They use it as a crutch or as something that's bad.
Oh, I will be the first to tell people you can live and die without this information and be just fine. So don't ever use it as something like, this is my cross to bear. Like I can't overcome this. And it's so funny because her name's, I think you pronounce it Annalena Fuke, and she's really big in the human design world. And her and I had like a little chitter chat on Instagram Live the other day. And she felt very similar to me, where it's like, don't take this so seriously. Use it, lock in what you need and run with it. Go create with it. Go be crazy and have fun, but don't ever use it to like hinder yourself or play small.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And honestly, personally, at the end of the day, I'm like, it's not me. Like it's somebody made this up or whatever, and it's like, I love to take it and use it to your advantage that that people are saying in the chat here. So we have a few questions coming in the Zoom room, and then we have some in the YouTube channel. I'm going to pop them in the chat over here, but if you want to start with the Zoom room.
Yeah. So advice in getting into it as a beginner. So for me, what I did was I just bought the book on gene keys, and I may have it in here. It's like massive. I might have it in here or on my bookshelf. It might be on my bookshelf, but it's like this big book and it has all of the different gene keys in it. So I know it's not for everybody to just sit there and look at their chart and read one by one, but that's how I learned. And that's what made me actually really excited. But they do offer on the Gene Key website, like an actual course where you can learn these different activation sequences. I would always start with, there's 3 sequences. And the very first one is the genius. There's so much good juice in the genius sequence that I would say there's 4 keys there. I would say dive into that first and kind of like take your first bite into that and see how they feel and play with those 4. And then you can keep building from there. Where the second sequence is the Venus sequence, where I felt like after those years of doing the shadow work, I had been very familiar with the Venus sequence because it kind of dives into your past, like any age from like 0 to 21. And so I've always been very obsessed with the first and the third sequence, which is called the Pearl or the Prosperity. And that's more of how you make money, how you prosper in this world. So the genius and the prosperity is like where I love to apply that to business.
And then also you can go to Hey Stephanie Eastman.
Oh, there's so much stuff on there, you guys. Like literally, I think I had felt like I had written as much as I could. And every now and again, I still pump some stuff through. But if you're going through and just learning one by one, there's a lot of stuff in my Instagram that can help guide you through it.
Okay, let's keep going in the chat. And I see it on the TikTok channel. People are saying, I've learned about my gene keys a few weeks ago. I'm obsessed with that. Yay. I'm obsessed with the Pearl. Okay, let's see. Olivia says, I have 2 channels in HD, H1 and 2010. Just wondering how they relate to gene keys.
So they're very similar. It's going to be like, so for me, I actually learned a decent amount about the gene keys through people's information on human design, because there's so little out there on the gene keys. There's like two links that you can go read, or you can read the book. So it's kind of just like truly at the end of the day, a mixing of your own intuition with the human design, with the gene key positions. So I always say, like, put your own spin on it. Like, how do you feel about those things? And how can you really shine with those gifts?
Do you find that one human design is like identical to some gene key? Like, are most manifesting generators something in the gene key, or is it just completely different?
You know, that is an interesting question. So since the gene keys are like a deep dive into those human design channels, I feel like they marry together really well. So I like to kind of intertwine the way that they are, but where the gene keys differ is just like it dives into like, hey, this one's going to help you with your career. Like this one's going to help you make money. This one's going to help you understand like the energy of your vocation, like the work that you do.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Michelle here says, I think it was Michelle next. Michelle Pepper says, I feel so overwhelmed when I open up the gene key. What do you recommend?
So this is where I always tell people, I'm like, don't drive yourself crazy if it's just like not that natural to learn it. That's why I'm one of the very few people that offer gene key readings, just because I think a lot of people do get very overwhelmed with that. It's a little bit more in detail than even human design sometimes. And so if you are somebody that's like not loving it, not like jazzed about learning it, and every time you open up the book, you're like, oh, I would say, come find me and I'll read it for you.
Well, I mean, like that's how we love humans and we hire mentors and we get in.
Yeah.
I have like a person for every area of my life. I'm like skincare, nutrition, like I'm like, just talk to me. Like, it's so good to respond to people, and you're amazing at picking out people's parts, but then specifically relating it to people's businesses, which is, I know who you target and you work with, of like, you could use this part in your gene key and turn that up on social media or leverage that part of your personality.
Yes. Yes.
Olivia says, great cue. Everyone needs a reading, just saying, haha. Oh my gosh. Everyone go follow Stephanie and book a session with her. Aisha says 3 sequences, genius, and 2 others. Dive into this first, keep building from there. Gonna go follow Stephanie's IG and connect with her. Any other questions coming up for Stephanie while she's on here about gene keys? I see people on the YouTube channel saying, I'm really good at sales too, just need to apply it to myself. Anything else coming up in the Zoom room or in the YouTube channel that you wanted to ask?
That also, while you're looking for those, that actually brings up a really good point. Like, even if somebody doesn't have the 26th gene key, like Bridget does, or in that position, I love learning about it. Even as I work with people, I start integrating that energy into me. So just as I was saying, I worked with somebody around the influencer energy, it gave me time to be like, how can I start doing that more? And like, what would that look like for me? And the same with like, I had done Dev's before, and she has like super daredevil energy. We're like, I was always a nervous Nelly. And so I'm like, okay, how can I like tap into that bigger than ever before? And so it's really cool. Like, we're not limited to just our gene keys, but those are the things that are like markers of what we're going to be good at.
We're so good at emulating and adapting to other people. It's like, get around them and see what they're doing. And then you find like, oh, maybe that was buried within me. I know I used to, the very beginning of my business, hang out with people that are really good at social media. And I had this narrative, oh, I'm not innately good at social media. But then I started hanging out with them and I was like, wait, I'm good at this thing. So I love that you're like, oh, you can pull other people's gene keys and add that into your life. Yeah. We have a few people asking what's her socials. It's Hey Stephanie Eastman on Instagram. Ashley says, yes, always embodying the energy you find inspiring in others. Yeah. Team Freedom Queen says, how can we book a reading? Does she play the guitar? They're asking you, Stephanie.
I used to much more. Now they're my beautiful decor little friends that sit in the back and cheer me on.
We love a good backdrop. Well, I don't think there's any other questions in the chat. If something else comes up in the Zoom room, this is your last chance to ask Stephanie about gene keys or just anything in general. Stephanie, is there anything else that you want to say to my audience who's building businesses? You know the Freedom Queen community. We're showing up online. We're changing the world. We're pioneering things, just doing things that have never been done before. Is there anything that you want to say to them before we close out?
There is, and this is outside of the gene keys. And honestly, I want you guys to know, I've been working with Bridget for just over 3 months now, and it has been one of the most incredible experiences of my life. She is someone that I knew that I needed to get around, because I was very like, I had told you before, where I was like moving my business with my emotions. And I saw her just taking charge. And I was like, I need to be around that energy. And my life is unrecognizable just since I started working with her. And not in the fact of, she's like, hey, you need to do this. It's I'm going to move like that. And like, you take yourself up a level whenever you put yourself in the room with people that are going to change you, people that are going to inspire you, and truly being brave, like selling my business, healing my body. Like I'm going to my second retreat in April. And for any of you guys out there that have been like on the fence or nervous or worried about whatever it is, I want you to just like give yourself permission to start living the life of your dreams. Because before this, I did work as a psychic medium. I thought I was going to do that for the rest of my life instead of the business coaching, but everything inside of me was like, you got to tell people about living their best life while we're here, because it's a blink. So go do the things you want to do, go invest in the things you want to invest in, and go live your life, because it's going to change the way that you carry yourself and the way you show up in your business every single day.
Oh my God. I was not expecting you to say anything like that. I thought you were just going to like talk about the gene key. I was like, what? You're making me cry over here. It's been so amazing watching you, Stephanie, really own your power on social media. Use your voice. I know we've been voxering back and forth. People are interested in your programs. Like, there is nothing more powerful than you going on the internet and selling and using your voice and saying, I love myself so much, I'm going to sell. I love myself so much, I'm going to go on the internet and ask you to buy my services, because I know what I have to offer is gold. Even if in the beginning you are afraid to do it, that right there, the ability to be able to promote who you are is everything. I know you like to listen to Bob Proctor and those teachings. I think Bob Proctor said it, the person that can promote themselves the best wins. And it's so true. No one's going to come to our houses and knock on the door and say, I want to buy from you. We have to go out there so loud and proud and be like, hi, everyone buy from me. So I'm so excited that you were here, Stephanie. I'm going to put your Instagram handle in the chat on YouTube again, Stephanie Eastman, and then same thing inside of our Zoom room here as well. Thank you so much for coming on, Stephanie. This was amazing.
Thank you so much for having me. I love hanging out with you, and this is such an awesome group of people.
Of course. Isn't this amazing? Like, literally every Monday we have around like 50 to 70 people come to Freedom Queen Live on our YouTube channel or in our Zoom room. So this was amazing. Thank you, Stephanie. And everyone go book a reading with her ASAP, because I know it changed my life. Thank you, Stephanie. Love this chat today. Olivia says, so good. Team Freedom Queen says, thank you, Steph. Mo says from Team Freedom Queen. I see there's a question in the chat here. Aisha says, show up scared. Yes, amen to that. Q. Was it the Freedom Queen headquarters that you joined the first time? What she's asking, what program did you join?
Me?
Yeah.
So I'm untraditional in the sense that I decided, I had known for about a year that I needed to invest in a business mentor. And truly, I just kept putting it off. Like, I had it at arm's length. And you could say like that it pretty much took like a lightning bolt strike for me to realize and be like, oh my gosh, like I was reading Think and Grow Rich, and it just talked about the power of being around people that have accomplished the things that you want to accomplish. I had one of those come to Jesus moments where I was like, all right, I'm ready to do whatever it takes. And so I came across Bridget's information like the next day, because I set my intentions for who it was I wanted to work with. I was like, I want her to feel like a friend. I want to look up to this person. I want to be excited to work with them. And like a lot of other boxes that I wanted checked. And she came up on my feed. I guess I had been following her for a minute and I didn't know. And I literally pretended like she was my coach for like 3 days.
Oh, I remember this. You told me about this. Yeah.
I made pretend that she was my coach for 3 days. And then I was just like, I've got to do this. So I did not join the membership. I did not join the headquarters. I went full pull, and it's been incredible to watch her grow too ever since, because she is like skyrocketed in that time. So go full pull on your life, people.
Stephanie was like, I want private coaching 6 months. When do we start? And I was like, done and done. I mean, what you said right there, Stephanie, is really powerful, of growing with your mentors. Like that's why it's so important, as for all of you that pioneering, your mentors, your leaders, your coaches, your guides, that you also grow, because everyone wants to be in a space where their mentor is growing. Otherwise you become disinterested, which, there's no right or wrong. There's not good or bad, but it's like, you want to be with someone that's always, always growing. So I love that story. I forgot that you pretended like we were already working together.
Yes, I did.
Kelly says, how do we get started with the Gene Keys? Where's the information? So go to Stephanie's Instagram. I think you have a link in your bio there. Is that right? To work with you?
So I have where we can do a one-to-one session where I sit down, I give you all of the juice, and then the next day we just go through all of it in Voxer so that you can really integrate it. And that's something that I recently added because I saw how powerful it was, not only for people to get the information, but to like have our creativity and the inspiration like play off of each other. Or else my private coaching, I always integrate the Gene Keys and human design just in general into that.
Cool. Amazing. I've so loved this conversation. This was fun. It just felt like I get to wake up in the morning and talk to amazing human beings and see you, Stephanie, and everyone in the Zoom room, Aisha, Lexi, Olivia, everyone in the YouTube channel. Well, thank you for coming on, Stephanie. Thank you so much. Everyone go follow her. And as always, we have our Freedom Queen Live Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you are a mastermind client, a mini mind client, anything above headquarters, you're welcome to come in the Zoom room every week. And then if you are in our membership or you're brand new to our world, you're welcome to watch from the YouTube channel every single Monday at 7 p.m. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Stephanie. And I'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, Bridge. See ya.